नमस्कार सार मैंने आज आम इंग्लीश यूनिट 3 पेडागोजी देखिबा। Verbal test can assess the ability of option D listening and speaking. Find a single prefix for the given letters to make meaningful words. Des son, des vert, des fur, des dance, des vict, des said. This activity in the above box can be practiced for developing skill in option B vocabulary. Evaluation indicates learners learning and progress in option A curricular subjects. Reading of comprehension can be best achieved in learners. Option B read silently. Sonam often makes mistakes in subject verb agreement. How could this problem be solved? Option D lot of contextual practice in class. Which is different from the other three? Option D evaluation. Holistic evaluation of the learner is done by option C comprehensive and continuous evaluation. Holistic development of the learner can be well assessed through option D continuous comprehensive evaluation, which is not a principle of teaching and learning English at elementary level as per NCF 2005. Option D putting emphasis on learning the rules of a grammar. Instructional objectives are formulated and stated from option B learner's point of view. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act stipulates that learning should be option C through activities in a child friendly manner. The learner fail to acquire the skills and objectives of teaching English are defeated as option A teaching of macro skills is not properly planned as per sequence. Teacher eligibility test across the country is being conducted for successful implementation of option C right of children to free and compulsory education. Often students ask questions in the class, such the students should be option C asked to participate in class discussion. The theme of Professor Yaspal's report 1993 was option B teaching without burden. The right of children to free and compulsory education came into force in option B 2009. The NCF 2005 aims at providing quality education to all the learners by option D all of these. Reading comprehension and explanation of 5E model of teaching can be best achieved if option B learner read silently. Some noise in a language class indicates option C constructive activities with the learners engaged in language activities. If Ramsa OMSM, then SSA is OSEPA. OPEPA. Students need to brainstorm ideas, organize them, draft, edit, and revise their work. It is a process which reflects option B writing skills. The diagnostic test helps the teacher option C to know teaching learning weakness. With a view to making a language learning more effective, the learner should start learning the skills in the following order. Option D listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Students need to brainstorm ideas, organize them, draft, edit, and revise their work in a process which reflects option C writing skill. In which year the SCERT Odisha prepared the state curriculum framework? Option D 2007. Evaluation of learners' language skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing should be made by option D continuous and comprehensive evaluation. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 stipulates that learning should be option B through activities in a child friendly manner. Reliability is the same as option A, consistency. What is the first step in constructing an achievement test? Option B, identify the intended learning outcomes. Which of the following statements contains a specific determiner? Option C, America has some big industries. The statement that test reliability is a necessary but not sufficient condition test validity means that option B, a valid test will have certain degree of reliability. Which of the following is an example of criterion referenced interpretation? Option D, Elena set up her laboratory equipment in 5 minutes. What is the most likely to happen to reliability of the scores for a multiple choice test where the number of alternatives for each item is changed from 3 to 4? Option B, it will increase. Which one of the following learning outcomes is properly stated in terms of students' performance? Option B, explain the purpose of test specification. Which of the following type of learning outcome is most difficult to evaluate objectively? Option C, an appreciation. Which of the following types of test is this teacher primarily taking about? Option D, summative test. Which of the following a proposition is most essential to the final conclusion? Option A, effective self-evaluation does not require the use of test. Which of the following is a category in the taxonomy of the cognitive domain? Option D, none of the above. What is the most complex level in the taxonomy of a cognitive domain? Option C, evaluation. There are dash levels of cognitive learning as specified by Bloom. Option C, 6. Measurement and evaluation can be used to. Option D, all of the above. Some of the skills involved in interpreting and reporting assessment results are: option B, exploring percentile ranks and standard scores. A drawback of paper and pencil test when used to measure attitude. Option B, students tend to tell teachers what they think they want to hear. The purpose of grades is to, option B, provide information about a student's progress. An assessment is test if it consistently achieves the same result with the same students. Option C, reliable. The use of technology enhance learning process is called dash education. Option B, ICT. An assessment that measures a student's current knowledge for the purpose of assigning a suitable course is called option A, diagnostic assessment. Next I'll have an assessment that is generally carried out. Option B, formative assessment. An assessment that is generally carried out at the end of the course to assign students a course grade is called option B, summative assessment. Which form of the following is not formal assessment? Option D, discussion. Which form of the following is not a informal assessment? Option A, assignment. Evaluation of learners' language skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing should be made by option D, continuous and comprehensive evaluation. A test should be option C, both A and B. Feedback helps in option C, redesigning teaching learning strategies. Summative assessment takes place at option D, end of the lesson. RTE Act recommends option C, continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Portfolio assessment is meant for learners. Option C, level of achievement. When the learner decide the evaluation criteria themselves before a task, it is option A, rubric. Peer assessment gives rise to option B, learner's self responsibility. If a teacher has to develop a remedial learning material, then he must go for option C, diagnostic test. If a test measures what is expected to measure, then the test is option A, valid. Assessment in English is the test of option C, overall proficiency. Test should be option C, both verbal and written. Verbal test can assess the ability of option D, both A and B. When a number of abilities objectives are to be tested, the test is option A, subjective. When a focused aspect is tested, the test is option B, objective. Scoring varies in option A, subjective test. A test is objective based when option B, its test one objective. Short answer type questions is a option A, subjective test. Assessment done during teaching learning is option A, formative. What helps in redesigning the strategies is known as option B, feedback. When all the domains of learning are covered in a test, it is option A, comprehensive. Dictation test the skill of option C, listening and writing. Role playing develops the skills option C, both A and B. Assessment in reading test option D, all of these. Knowing all punctuations can be tested through the test of option D, both B and C. The instrument used to measure assess that levels of performance is option C, rating scale. A learner's detailed information regarding self and academic performance are mentioned in option A, cumulative record. A learner's commendable achievements are put together in option C, portfolio. Continuous comprehension evaluation emphasizes option A, process evaluation. Sequencing of ideas can be tested in a option C, writing task. Which of the following will help learners take greater responsibility for their own learning? Option D, peer assessment. The main purpose of assessment is option D, to improve the teaching learning process. If a student answer script is evaluated by two examiners, they must award nearly the same number of marks. Then we can say that the test is option B, reliable. At schools, teachers conduct their unit test, terminal exams, and annual exams to ensure option B, summative is evaluation. Summative evaluation. তারপরে the right of the right of children to free and compulsory education act 2009 has included all round development of the child as one of the aims of the education because option C, it nurtures the physical, mental and emotional aspects of the child. What type of questions promote thinking skills in children? Option A, open ended question. Which of the following statement is true? Option A, while all formative tasks are meant for improving teaching learning, some are used for assessment too. ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମର ସବୁ ପେଡାଗୋଜିର MCQ ସରିଲା। ଏହାପରେ ଇଂଲିଶର କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟର MCQ ପଢ଼ିବା। ସେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଚ୍ୟାନେଲକୁ ଲାଇକ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ, ସେୟାର କରନ୍ତୁ ଆଉ ସବସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।